I am Megan and welcome to Battle Royale with Cheese, the website you can get all of your TV and film news reviews and trailers, and I have finally seen Wicked Part 1. Yes, this is a Part 1. I saw it very late last night. I came back at about 1 in the morning, so I apologise that this review is up a couple of days late, but this is a film that I've actually been really looking forward to since I saw the first trailer. Originally, I wasn't really interested in this because I just had no interest in this. I didn't have any interest in the musical when it originally came out. And I saw the first trailer and was like, okay, this looks amazing. And it is amazing. So I'm not going to do the usual plot summary and then review. I'm just going to go straight into this. I will also say the musical has been out for quite a long time. So I am going to kind of talk a bit freely about this. So apologies. There's going to be a couple of spoilers in here, not many, but there's going to be a couple. I want to talk about the ending as well. So another thing to point out is, yes, I said part 1. So part 2 is coming out in exactly a year's time. And while the film does have this in the title, I wish that the trailers had actually advertised this as a part 1. A lot of people going into the cinema when I went to see it didn't actually know that. So, yeah, I kind of wish that had been advertised a lot more. We seem to be getting a lot of films that turn out to be part 1s this year and like last couple of years that aren't advertised as such. So also, yeah, for context, I have not seen the musical at all. I probably know about 3 songs before going into this film. When it came out originally, I just had no interest in it because it wasn't my thing at the time. I just had no interest in it. So going into this, I knew that this is the origin story of how Elphaba became the Wicked Witch of the West in Wizard of Oz, and the fact that Glinda and Elphaba were once friends. I did know that going into this. I knew about 3 songs going into this, and that's it. And part 1 is amazing. It's incredible and very emotional because I didn't know what the story details were, what the minor details were going into this. Yeah, I was very surprised at where it goes and found it very emotional. I really wish I had filmed my review last night because my face was completely streaked with tears. But we got back very late. I went with my sister to go see it, who has seen the musical, so she knew what to expect from this. I didn't. And I really wish that I had filmed it last night. But yeah, we got back very late. So I was very tired. But yeah, it's incredible. I think a lot of you already know this. I know this came out a few days ago, so a lot of you have already seen this. So you probably already know this, but I really loved this. The main cast is incredible. So Ariana Grande plays Glinda, and Cynthia Erivo plays Elphaba. And yeah, they're perfect in their roles. They are absolutely perfect. And Ariana Grande was actually someone that I know of, but again, had never heard her singing before. Again, it's just not a genre of music that I listen to. Wow. Wow is all I can think of. Yeah, they were both incredible. And yeah, once again, just perfectly cast. Like, Ariana brings that weird charm to this very popularity obsessed person who just wants to be perfect in every way. And Cynthia is just incredible. And the rest of the cast are amazing as well, actually. So Jeff Goldblum plays the wizard, Michelle Yeoh plays Madame Morrible. And their singing is really good as well. I really liked Jeff Goldblum's. He has a number near the end, a song number near the end. And actually, I really liked it. I've never heard him sing before, but he brought that fake charm that the wizard needs, which really worked. And yeah, I thought they were incredible, and I was very surprised by his singing as well. And I think the song that he gets is actually one of my favourites, as well as Loathing, Popular, and Defying Gravity, which I'll actually get to in a minute. I'll talk about that one in a minute. But it wasn't just the acting, it was also the singing that was amazing. They complement each other very well in terms of singing. There's a lot of times where they're singing together and harmonising, and that was just, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. I loved it. They worked so well together. And yeah, like I said, they were perfect. And the singing as well was amazing. What I really like about this is, like with the Les Miserables adaptation that came out a while back, this has the same technique as the singers are all singing live. So it's not dubbed or ad-libbed later on. They are actually singing live on the film set. So what you end up getting is, when there's an emotional moment, of which there are a few, you get that raw emotion in their singing, which can often work a lot better than actually if it was ad-libbed later on and if it was added in later on. So yeah, I really appreciated that technique that was used. Plus also the actual sets and stunts were done by the actors themselves. The sets are all physical. I think nearly all of this film is practical effects and actual sets, which is another thing I really appreciated. You can really tell the difference between practical effects and CGI. And yeah, the sets looked incredible. The whole locations, especially the Emerald City near the end, looked amazing. That looked incredible. Like, wow. But I think going back to the main cast, like, as well as the singing, as well as the dance numbers and stuff, you also have when the film, before the film started, it showed the film certification, and it said it's this certification for mild threat and discrimination. And unfortunately, discrimination is a big theme in this. Obviously, Elphaba is born with a different skin colour. She's born green, and that does bring about racial issues. That brings about her sisters in a wheelchair and disabled, so that does bring about ableism. And I'm walking disabled, and while I don't need a wheelchair, I do occasionally need a walking stick. And there was some of the dialogue very early on, especially around the sister, where I've had similar comments being made about me. And I think that the comments and the conversations and the themes and stuff that are brought up in this film are difficult to watch, especially as someone who could relate to Elphaba and Nessa's situation. But at the same time, it's really needed for Elphaba's story as to why she feels this anger towards Oz, towards the way that the kingdom is and the runnings of it, as well as the deeper issues that this supposedly perfect city has. So I really felt for her and her sister. And even by the end of it, I couldn't help but think, maybe Elphaba had a point. Maybe she's in the right here. Which we'll see how my mind changes in part 2. Because I'm not going to look up what the rest of the story is before it comes out next year. I want to go into part 2 blind and not know anything. So for the time being, I did start to think the amount of just the difficulties that she has to go through. I couldn't help but think by the end, yeah, you know what, I get it. Like, I understand why you've ended up this way by the end of it. By the end of Act 1 anyway, or Part 1. The ending, I do want to talk about, this is where I had a bit of a nitpick. So it does end on Defying Gravity, which could have been amazing. And again, I don't know what the musical version is like, so I can't compare it to that. So I can only look at it in terms of how the film portrayed this. I know the song, but I don't know how they actually performed it on stage. The ending felt like it dragged on a bit. And it got to a point where it was like, okay, this feels a bit show-offy. Like when Elphaba reads from the book and she grabs the broomstick, that all felt a bit like, oh look, she's got the broom, and oh, Galinda's given her the cloak. Ooh. I don't know, it felt like very show-offy when the rest of the film hadn't really done that. Not to the extent anyway that it was doing here. It felt very show time, show business like, which I guess works on stage, but for me it didn't translate very well in in the film. So that was the only nitpick I had. But aside from that, like, this is incredible. This film's incredible. And even the 2 hour and 40-minute runtime didn't actually feel like long. It didn't drag on at all. I was a bit worried that it was going to, but this film, like, zooms by. And I loved it. I thought it was great. So yeah, if you haven't already seen it, I'm sure a lot of you already have done, but if you haven't, I would really recommend this. I think it's amazing, and I'm very intrigued to know what's going to happen in part 2, because there is still a lot to go through. There's still a lot of questions to answer and a lot of story details to go through and resolve. So I'm interested to know where that's going to go, but I'm actually not going to look up anything about it. I'm not going to look up the rest of the story, because again, I want to go into this next year not knowing anything once again. So yeah, maybe once part 2 has come out, maybe I can go see the musical and do like a side-by-side sort of comparison thing or something. I don't know. But for the time being, I thought Wicked Part 1 was amazing. I loved it. It was very emotional, and I thought Elphaba and Nessa were actually very relatable, and I really felt for them. The writing is amazing, the songs were fantastically performed, and it's just a fantastic film. So this was my review on Wicked Part 1. I was Megan, this is Battle Royale with Cheese. See you soon.